Hello and welcome to Cosmic Crap, a podcast. No, what is it? A lousy podcast where two humans talk about philosophy, the human experience, life, whatever comes to mind. I'm Ariel.
Welcome, it's Mousa.
So it's been 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but it's been a crazy 2 weeks here. My little kitty got sick, and so she's been in the vet. She comes home at night, but I've had to take her in for some treatment every single day this week. My poor little baby.
Oh,
So that's the chaos of my life.
I hope he is better now.
Yeah, it's we when we took her there, we took her in for like a little teeth cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out she needed 10 teeth removed. She'll need the rest of the teeth removed in about a year. And she has a lower respiratory infection. And when we got her from the shelter, they said she was 3 years old. And the vet said, no, she's probably like 13.
Oh, that's a big
So it
difference.
has been a week. Been a
But
week.
wait, I thought you have a he, don't you?
No,
No.
Minerva, she.
Uh-huh.
What, gender's a construct. Maybe she's
Makes
non binary.
Might be.
They had part of her treatment plan is they had to give her a little steroid injection, and they
Mhm.
said, be aware, like roid rage is a thing even in animals. And so yesterday she was like really like strong and really mean, and it's kind of funny. On the mend, but
Oh,
you know,
so
wow,
scary.
yes. What have you
Yeah.
been up to the last couple weeks?
Nothing really much. Mostly the same things that I usually do quite often. Mm, I don't think I did anything that uh, stood out in the last 2 weeks, I guess, so far. Yeah,
You
it's
know, sometimes that's the best the
mm,
best answer. Nothing
yeah,
happened. Everything's fine.
you don't
Well,
know. It's the best of the worst. I'm not sure, uh, but I'm happy about it.
yeah. Any how's the weather there? Cold? Does it snow where you are?
I think, well, it's getting warmer. We are approaching spring, I guess.
Mm,
Because somehow I omit the fall and the spring. Like the seasons for me are like winter and just summer, and everything else like the other two somehow converge to either the summer or the winter. But I think we are approaching the spring, if I'm not mistaken. So it's
I
getting
think
warmer.
it's soon.
Um, but yeah, we are like in the aftermath of the winter. So
Hmm.
some days are cold. Maybe it's rainy. It also depends on where in the country. Some cities are
Mm,
near the sea, so it might be rainy. Some others might be snowing, etc. But generally, it's getting warmer. Yeah, and I
good. I'm
guess
a I'm a summer person myself, so and listen, I live in California. We don't get winter here, but the
yeah.
little bit of rain we get, I'm like, oh my god, I can't. I'm not gonna make it. Like I don't like long sleeves. I don't like stuff like touching me, like too many I just don't. I want to no, I'm really
Yeah,
I'm very
I
fragile.
yeah, California helps significantly in that. Yeah,
It,
you practically have no winter, so
it's there are parts of the state
I like
that get snow, but
Mhm.
not very many of them, and I don't live in that part on purpose. So
I
So
see.
I did this week I started it's just a short like 6-hour weekend training, but I'm doing like an in-depth restorative yoga training that's been really wonderful. And since I've opened my little studio, I ordered uh, more hundreds of dollars than I think is appropriate, but I got a bunch of yoga like props. So I got a bunch of blocks, these like really long, super thick straps. I got probably, I don't know, like 20 different kinds of like bolsters and pillows and blankets and um I was everything arrived yesterday, so my husband got home from work and I was like, "Oh my god, lay down. Let me like put all these pillows around you." And he just laid there and like with 15 pillows all around. I've never seen him so like calm and relaxed. And I was like, "This is the kind of yoga I do." And he was like, "Wow, I did not know that yoga could look like this." But now the challenge is how do I, because I can't store them in my little office, how do I'm gonna have to just take fucking 40 trips in and out from my car every week when I go in, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Our last episode was you were in the office. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
congrats.
and I have still too much fucking social anxiety to be like, "Excuse me, Miss Nice Lady that I rent from, can I leave some stuff?" Even though I pay for it, and, like, theoretically, yeah, I should be able to leave stuff, but the, like, people-pleasing part of me is like, "Shh, don't say anything. Make yourself suffer instead." You know, like yoga, like all yoga is for. Self-suffering.
In a way, yeah.
Sometimes after we finish recording, whatever we've talked about that day, it just, like, sticks in my head, and all day I'm like, "Oh, man. We're fucked. Everything's fucked."
Yeah. Yeah, I guess also I have a slightly cynical general overview of things, so that really doesn't help quite much.
I feel like, the last show was, more of a highlight of our different, like, views of things than we've had so far. That was kind of fun. It's like, "Oh, man. Wow, we're really coming at this from, like, totally different angles, huh?"
Yeah.
Uh, I, um distracted by what I think is my cat wheezing outside of my door. So sorry, never mind. I was gonna let her in here. We have turned this little guest room like into her room, but she has this like old man like heavy like breathing thing. So she had to stay out today.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
so today, kind of, I don't know, like we always go in with a plan and then a plan gets thrown out the window, but I
Yep.
have to at least pretend that we have a plan for my brain. um, I figured today we could talk about sort of similar to last week where we talked about all of the traps that you can fall into, but maybe today more along the lines of different yoga type practices, like different asanas, different meditation styles, just even things that you and I have tried and what works and what doesn't.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
Um, so I weirdly this morning specifically, my Instagram algorithm is, oh my god, it's a mess because you say one thing about like doing a teacher training and the little like robot listens to me, and now my whole Instagram feed is like, "Do you want to do this training? Do you want to do this training? How about this one?" And in
Well,
that, this morning I got Kundalini pushed on me like really aggressively, and I don't know a ton about Kundalini other than it's very, strict, I guess. Do you know? I probably should have Googled it before we hit record, huh?
well, they have a theory or some framework of perceiving the body, the human body, where it's composed of energy centers or the chakra, and at the end, um, um, I don't know, like at the very last part of um, the back, it has a name, but I forgot it. That part of the human body, and that's where the sexual energy uh, is located, and they somehow, um, yeah, they say, yeah, it's like a snake, and then the idea is to transform that energy into something else, so you can actually bring it up to the very first part of the energy center, which I also forgot. It's been a while, um, so that it can rise up, uh, and the first part, or the first part of the first energy center is, I guess, close to the third eye or something, and then the energy will be transformed from a sexual energy into what they call consciousness or wisdom, or it will just transform the person. So the general idea, without digging much into the details, is energy transformation of some areas of the body, and
Okay.
um, yeah,
So,
it's
is
what
that
they.
saying that sexual energy should be moved and it's not good to let sexual energy be sexual energy?
Well, it's not from the point of should, but it's more like if someone wants to be, I don't want to say better person, because this is not what they think either. It's more like if you want to gain some, uh, well, I would say higher form of consciousness, whatever that means, then you bring up that energy. Um so,
So, not
um,
necessarily that it's bad that we have sexual energy, but here is
no,
a thing
no.
that you can do with it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no. They don't see it as bad. They just want to transform the person into something else. So it's more like the sexual energy is tied to the primitive desire, and they want to change that form of energy into something else. Um,
Interesting.
So I would say it's more like evolution of the person,
Hmm.
um, to make it something higher,
Okay.
whatever that means.
So
Um,
here's this is gonna be really fucking specific. Prepare yourself. And I don't know that you'll have the answer to this. What about people that are ace, that are asexual, that don't really have sexual energy? Or is it a belief that even people that are ace do have the sexual energy, or they just don't? They're just not invited.
um, I don't know, but I think it's more like about the life force itself,
Okay.
which is manifested in the sexual energy, because it's probably the strongest
Mm.
desire, and I would say it's more like about what they call life force, or whatever that means. So that's my guess, but I'm not really sure because they don't discuss the asexual people, or I didn't see it before. Um, I think
Leave it to me to find the really specific, like, niche question. I'm actually gonna look that up. I'm curious. I have a couple friends that are ace, and I would be really curious to hear what, like, if that would be, a deterrent to them, in some way, or like a, um, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna make a note of that and see.
hmm,
The other one, what's the other very strict one? Hatha. I know a tiny bit more about Hatha, but not really a lot. I believe that's more um like you're nodding. You take over. You probably know more than me.
well. I would say just in one line, it's focused more on asanas,
Mhm.
but really, um, they are supposed all to lead to the same thing. They're just different methods
Mm.
or different kinds. But many people or many yogis claim that Kundalini is quite dangerous because they say if that energy will just go out without really understanding of how to deal with it, it might actually backfire and cause a lot of disturbances in
Mm.
the energy system of the body. So they have already um, a way of seeing the human body and the chakra systems and yeah, all that stuff. And sometimes it's quite helpful to achieve what the person wants, but I, I again doubt the end goal, which is moksha or nirvana or whatever people call it, or freedom. Uh, yeah, it's I don't know how to say it, but uh, it is certainly a journey.
Mm.
But when one can know that they are there, like when one can really understand that I am here, because if
Mhm.
someone is free, they can't it is actually not possible for them to know that they are free, because the way that we know we are free or not is based on something else. I am not free because I am tied to something, or I cannot get rid of something, or I am too attached to something, or I have overwhelming desire to something, or there is something that let me know that I am not actually free, whatever that means. So if someone starts a journey on any path, I don't think to there is a way for them to know that they are actually free, because the moment that they tell themselves that they are free, it is also the same moment that they are not. uh, because when someone tells themselves that, oh, now I'm free, so eh, eh, it is certainly you are following something that actually tells you that you are free. It's like, if you say you are free, my question would be, how did you know? You knew based on something else. So you are still not free of that thing. So the only thing that a person will be free is really not crossing well, is that that question will never cross their mind genuinely. It won't matter to them. They won't think in the same way anymore. They will just fundamentally change, whatever that means. Either.
Well, I have an example that I think will help to make your point. I'm still doing my I rest yoga nidra exploration. And the more I learn about it, the more I do it, the more I see the many layers of, who we are as
Yeah.
humans. You have like your body layer, then you have like ego and all of that. And there have been a few times where when conditions are just right, I feel like this is not how you're supposed to, like, mark it, but I feel like I meditate, like, really good, like, I'm doing it, like, totally right, and I get to this point where I can sort of kind of, like, detach from ego, but then there's this, like, "Oh, I did it," and then that little moment of, like, "Oh my god, I did it," it just sucks you right back in, and you can't have the realization, "Oh, I'm doing it right," because then you are an I. You're a, you're a being, and you're
Exactly.
no longer
Exactly.
formlessness. And
Mhm.
it's like you can do it, but you can never know. It's like you have to
Yeah.
secretly get there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's actually very true. Yes. The moment that says that I did it or that I am
Mhm.
here, yeah, it is also the same moment that they actually didn't. They achieved uh, the method, like they did what they are supposed to do. So they did the practice, yes, but what about the goal? Um, yeah. So and yeah, that's how people think about the traps as you started the
Mhm.
conversation. And I remember the saying from Ramdas: all the methods are traps, but you are using one trap to get rid of another trap. So it's like a sort of a big game. Um, it is. Sorry. Um, sorry. So it's like a big game, and it's some sort of play, and of course there is nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely fine and fun to actually do it. But then, what is the difference really? If I will substitute a trap by another trap, which imply that there is differentials, or there is a difference between the traps. They are not all the same. Uh, if we disregard um, our standards, so morality and society and all that, which is a big deal, there is nothing. Uh, there's nothing. Well, there is not really any difference. They are all the same. Uh, and if someone succeeded in substituting a trap by a better one, whatever that means, then how can one substitute the latter? How can I get rid of the better trap? I will have to always upgrade to even a better one. It will never end, I guess. And
Well, that idea is why I go into fucking crisis every time we record this show, because 'cause I'm like, "There's no this is never gonna end. This is never gonna end."
no,
S
uh, yeah, I guess it will ever end. Yes, I think so. Uh,
Well, yeah, when we fucking kick it, when we're dead, there's no time for yoga anymore.
yeah,
So let me ask, the goal well, very hard to make like a just like a broad statement like that. The goal of yoga is samadhi, nirvana, enlightenment, whatever.
um,
Do you think that somebody has to have that as a goal to practice yoga? So if we take something like
hmm,
um hatha or kundalini or something very strict, because what I focus in is accessible yoga, which is like the exact opposite. It's meeting your body where it's at rather than making your body conform sort of to this particular style. Are there benefits in that, I guess, in your opinion? Like, is there any circumstance in which somebody could commit to that practice? Maybe they don't really care about the many, many, many other parts of yoga. All they care about is, well, I want a quote unquote yoga body and I want to look really hot. Like, do you think that there's a way that somebody can apply themselves to a rigorous asana practice only and have benefits there?
Well, I'm not an expert, but I would say yes, for sure. Asanas has a lot of benefits for the body. So, and with the proper ones, it will help people for sure. Yes, and for that, yes, uh, it will have also benefits, and it's also fine if someone will actually practice yoga for any other reason that is not liberation. Um, well, I mean, there's not a holy thing about yoga or anything. So if someone, well, I will actually practice it just to feel good, then why not? Or just to help my body, or because I like it, or I mean, there is hundreds and hundreds of reasons. So why not? I don't see any harm. However, if someone really believes in Kundalini, um, and uh, maybe they have also psychological issues, this might be a bit dangerous, because it might lead them, or actually push them towards the wrong path in the way that it might create more harm than it will benefit them. Um, so it's um, but I am only aware of Kundalini out of the famous yoga types that actually might be a bit tricky. The other types are fine as long as the person, of course, will be safe in doing the practices. So yeah, they won't hurt their bodies or anything similar to that. Um,
That's definitely my biggest fear with it, especially when you say to just like the average person, like, yeah, yoga is great, try yoga. And they will go to a class where probably the teacher is misinformed,
yeah,
or because I've been through several 200-hour trainings. I've since gone on and done like way much better training. Um, there's very little, at least the trainings that I've done here in the US, it's very little focus on doing things that are safe for somebody's body, which is crazy because westernized yoga, the way that it exists in classes here, is asana only, basically. And there's so little um, thought given to, here is how a human body works. Here's how you need to adjust it, from person to person. And I did years and years of classes where I was like physically altered. Like a teacher would come over to me and put their hands on me to change my body shape to fit what they thought the pose was supposed to look like.
yeah,
Some classes done in a hot room with no uh information given to students on what do you need to do to prepare your body to safely complete a practice in a room that's 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Um and when you get into practices that are even more physically focused with, I mean, I would hope that if somebody is getting training in something like kundalini or just like vinyasa, even like anything, that there would be more education for these teachers on how to safely do things in bodies. But as I've shifted my focus the last couple of years to accessible yoga, it's horrifying. It's horrifying how dangerous this can be for bodies, and there's no real conversation. It doesn't have to be. It's, I think, pretty easy to adjust poses to safely be accommodated in bodies. But I would worry that somebody would be like, "Oh, this nice lady on a podcast said I should try yoga," and then they show up to like a Bikram class, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I just please be smart, everybody. If there's not a lot of room in my experience in classes to not follow the teacher, to make a pose or a practice fit better in your body. If you're somebody that struggles to advocate for themselves, especially in public where there's like a power imbalance, start at home. Don't Please don't
Yeah,
learn. Not that there's no benefit, like you said, there is certainly benefit that can exist in these situations, but it's not inherent. It's not the guarantee. It's not the default, even.
yeah, yeah. It will also highly depend on what the person wants.
Mm.
What's their goal of doing it. So that will also make the difference. I guess. Yeah.
That the coolest thing that I have learned, and I knew this in bits and pieces before, but this restorative training that I'm doing, I'm seeing the vast difference between restorative and yin, because I have quite a bit of practice in yin, and I love it. I just want to like lay there and like, if it hurts a little bit, then great. Like I want like a deep stretch where I don't have to like exert any energy. But the point of restorative is like we don't really know how to relax like as humans anymore. There's not quite frankly a lot of room to relax anymore, but it's an important necessary thing for our bodies, for our brains, for our nervous system. And this like practice of, okay, I want to do yoga. Here's the 1 trillion benefits that I can theoretically get from yoga. How do I achieve like this one little, like, I want to feel better. I want to feel more calm. So let me try something like yoga nidra or restorative. And it's so different than um, maybe what the average Western person would think when they think yoga. But it is still yoga, and it's like incredible and it's amazing. And if I only did restorative for the whole rest of my life, I would shortchange myself. I think I would miss out on a lot of the other benefits of yoga. So, while I think it's like the most incredible, amazing thing on this earth, it will become a trap. At some point, it will become my trap, I'm sure.
Yeah. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with
Mm,
something becoming a trap? I mean, if you like it, or if someone actually likes it, why not? I mean, we are somehow trapped in our life right now.
mm,
We basically didn't choose most of our life's aspects. We didn't choose when we were born, or where, or to what family, or at what era, or anything whatsoever. We didn't choose the first 10 years of our life, or probably even more than that. Uh, that's a trap, isn't it? I
mm,
mean, seems like it to me. And somehow we just uh, live with it. So, um, yeah, the problem, I think, or what actually creates the problem is when I see something as a trap, the first thing I want to do is to get rid of it. Is that I don't want to be trapped. So now what I can do is to not be trapped, which means the thing that actually makes me trapped should go away, whatever that thing will be, because it makes me trapped. Uh, but I don't see what is wrong with that. So what? Yeah, you are trapped because you like it.
mm,
So okay, so be it. I mean, what is it that makes it bad? Um, um, the person might start to get from the things that trap them, because it will start to create actually problems for them, because once they trapped, so between like quote unquote trapped, um, uh, they might have difficulties doing other things, and then when they see that, then they might actually try, well, yeah, now I can see that it has an impact on me. So maybe, yeah, I don't like it anymore. But then once they start to change, they can, because they like it. They don't like. Um, it's hard to actually do that. So they will always come back and forth. Uh, yeah, now I need to change. But then they will actually do it for a period of time. But then they will come back again. Once they get enough, okay, I am done. I can't get more of this anymore. Then, yeah, then they will just leave it behind. But they have to see it. They have to see it themselves. If someone will tell me by all possible means I am trapped, this is in no way compared to when I see the consequences myself. It is not comparable at all. Um, so it's really labeling things as as traps. I think it will cause actually problems rather than solving them, because the people, or I mean, I will always try to get rid of that trap, but because I like it, I will stick to it. But then I don't like it because I feel trapped, so I want to get rid of it. But at the same time, I still like it, so I will be always in a conflict. And because of that, I will start looking into methods and how can I solve the problem? How can I get rid of X? How can I get rid of Y? Because I like it, or I like actually doing it. But at the same time, I don't want to be with it because it is a trap. Um, so actually, the things that even we think we don't like, I think we still like it. Even the things that are horribly bad. Uh, Things like suffering, overthinking, being. Uh, I know that might sound surprising, but um, um, it seems to me the only way that we continue actually doing the things that we do is because we like it. As simple as that. Whatever this will be, um,
Well, we
we
talked about this idea recently. I think it might have been the last show actually, where we as humans have a negativity bias, and there is a even in suffering, a familiarity to it that is it's like comfortable almost.
yeah, true. And the second thing I think is the fear that we know ourselves in a certain way, and if
Mm,
we left that thing, we will be scared to lose that part of uh, past selves,
mm,
whatever that means. So it's like you own something and you just don't want let it go because you are identified by it, or it is part of you. It makes you feel um, comfortable because, as you said, we are familiar with it. So it's yeah, it has been with me for very long time. How can I leave it, or I am actually afraid to uh, leave it. Um, at the first sight, this might not seem uh, intuitive, or it might not the first thing that people will think about. But um, it seems to me that deep down or at the core of it, this seems the cause of it. I can't really prove it, but it's um, because everything else seems like a symptom. It um, it is not really the cause. So I overthink. So I need to stop overthinking. Why? Because I don't like it. Why you don't like it? Because it makes me feel uh, stressed out, overwhelmed. But those are symptoms. Why do
Hmm.
you feel uh, overwhelmed? Well, because I overthink. There is a lot of things to think about, and why there is a lot of things to think about? Because I'm scared of the future. But why are you scared of the future? So it's like um, it is always a question that will always trigger a second question, then a third one, and if we do this, maybe we will end up at the base of the problem. Um, so I think we are just in the game of solving the symptoms all over,
Mm.
and because to be honest, the the base cause of any problem we have is a bit too much for us. It's a bit shocking, and it's also multi-layered. It is not easy to look it in the eye. So we try to sugarcoat it
Mm.
or deal with something that is easier. Um, it could be something simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It could be simple, but just very shockingly hard
That's
for.
something that's a pretty heavy focus in this yoga nidra. It's
Mhm.
almost like I don't love to use this word, but you're forcing yourself to do exactly that in a slightly more controlled um situation, but it's sitting down and figuring out where these like physical manifestations are coming from. Not just, okay, I am anxious and now I'm just like, I feel weird in my body and I'm like uncomfortable and I don't, and then that leads to, lashing out, shutting down, what however it works for everyone. But this like sitting down, taking a moment to like, okay, what are all of the things that I'm feeling? Okay, I feel this is overthinking. Okay, why am I overthinking? Well, I'm overthinking because, and you layer by layer by layer slowly are like working yourself to the root of the problem. And I totally agree. I think most times it's horrifying what we're going to find. It's
Yeah,
sometimes it's, some small like, okay, well, I have anxiety because, whatever, but the world is really not super awesome and getting less and less awesome by the moment. And I'll just speak for myself. I'm having a really tough time in the world accepting that the world exists the way it does and that people exist the way they do. And even if you make it, like, so much smaller than that, like, I isolate myself, I wanna use my dad as an example, because what you were saying earlier, this if you give up, um, something that you have decided defines you, you lose who you are. That, like, totally blew my mind because that was my dad totally and completely. After he got diagnosed with cancer, it was really shocking, it's really upsetting, it's like a whole fucking process you have to work through. And my sister and I, for the couple of years that he was alive after his diagnosis, were like, why isn't he changing his habits? He didn't adjust his eating. He didn't adjust his stress level. He didn't you met nothing. And from our perspective, it's like, what are you doing? How is this not like a wake up to change everything that you are? But because of who my dad was, the way that he grew up, a couple of reasons that made him the way he was, he was a person who ate this kind of food. He was a person who worked in this kind of way. He was somebody who, I mean, had a lot of problems, so wasn't gonna sit down and meditate because that's like woo-woo stuff and, I wouldn't do that. But it's this, if I had to, like, boil it down and define it, I would say he wouldn't change his habits because it was what defined him. And it was such a light bulb for me too, because as you were talking, I was like, "Well, I love changing. I wanna, like, learn more and change all the time." But that is is probably directly, because my dad, refused. So I really like the way that you frame that. I think that that's totally, true and interesting, and you can apply that to most, if not all, people.
Yeah, it might be, but yeah, the thing, I guess, is what is it that makes us not actually change in the way that we want to? Like, I want to be something else, but I can't. Or I have a habit, but I can't actually change it. And yeah, I think that will also touch on the part of uh, who you are, as what we do somehow identify us and shape our image in um our own eyes. So uh, if I see someone um, in need, and I give them what they need, then I will feel better about myself. So what I did actually changed the way I see myself. So it's certainly our actions, and will be also our habits will have a stronger impact on the way we see ourselves. And the way we see ourselves is the way that others told us how. So I feel better about myself because in society, helping each other is good. Um, it is good. It's better than not helping each other. Um, so um, the only way is to not have any model, but that is not possible either. We can't just live without any way of thinking because we have already been, quote unquote, conditioned. So yeah, I don't think there is no way back for most of us. So we just have to find a way to uh, live with that and sync it with our own actions. How can I change my actions so that I change the way I see myself? And the way you see yourself will have a huge difference. It might make the difference. Um, because sometimes when I feel down, I remember the times that I fucked up. Oh, I did this because I am bad, because I am not good enough, or because of this or that. So when something bad happens, everything else that were actually negative just come in. I don't know from where. It's just like some door open, and everything that bad that ever happened before will just come out of nowhere. Um, so since we can't really change or destroy our self image, the only way is to probably burn it down but that is not possible. We will just have to change it in the way that we want. So I want to do things that will make me feel better about myself. But we then have that actually conflict. I want to do things that are not that good. I want them. So I want to do things. I want to be angry, or I want to hit someone because they actually made me angry. I will stop because, well, I will go to jail, or I will be detained or something because this is not legal. So I will stop. But I will get angry. Well, there's no legal action for this, so I will just get angry. We have been told it's bad, but we still do it because really, I mean, it feels good. Um, I don't know why people want to be less angry. I can understand if someone wants to be angry in social situations. Like they don't want to get angry in a social context where it might not be good for them. That's totally fine, but that's for social uh, functioning. Beyond that, what is bad about anger? I don't see anything bad, to be honest. I like to be angry. I see something that actually bothers me, so I want to be angry. Um, but I always hear the teachers from all kind of schools and uh, religious people from all faith all over the globe. It's like universal thing that we have to get rid of our anger or to be uh, less angry. Or yeah, it's just there is something about anger that we just shouldn't uh, accept it. And
Well,
I
it's a totally
don't see why.
normal human emotion
Yeah.
to it's like the same idea of saying, okay, well, I want to pursue joy, I want to pursue happiness. That in itself is setting you up to failure, to fail, because you can't experience that all the time. To say I never want to be angry, you're gonna fucking fail because you're human and this world is bullshit. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get angry at something at some point.
Actually, I think the only way that a person cannot be angry at all, they can get rid of anger or be free from anger, to uh, is to be angry, because then they will see, they will feel it, they will live it. I can't get rid of something that I didn't live. Like, you can tell
Mm.
me, oh, you have to get a car, but I have never seen a car in um, uh, my life. It is not possible. I have to see it. I have to feel it. I have to touch it. I have to sit in it and actually drive it. Um, and then I can tell if I want to keep the car or not. But because we always try to shy out from anger, we don't want to live with it because it's bad. So we always try so many things, breathing or just change where you are or whatever way. Then we have never lived it fully. We have been angry, yes, because we have been overwhelmed by it. But we just didn't unleash ourselves. So we always shy out midway, or probably just be like before the end line, before we are fully angry. So we are always shy out because it's a demon. We don't want that. It's so bad. And then some other people will actually tell us, "Oh, you don't have to be angry." Well, you ought not to be angry. It's so bad for you. It's so harmful. So you shouldn't be angry. Well, I am not also saying that people should actually go out and just be angry and shouting at each other. I'm not saying that either. But I'm just saying, beyond the social functioning part, you are angry, then be angry. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. And I think the only way then the person will actually want to be free from it is once they see it fully, and then they will feel it, and then they might actually do something about it, and then maybe later they might not be angry anymore, not because of someone else told them you shouldn't be angry, but because they actually have lived it and they have seen it, and then they understood why it is not a good idea to be angry, not through intellectual way, like some sort of a theory. No, they have lived it,
Mm.
they have seen it, and then they understood that, oh, anger mm, is not really something that I want to have. So this same sentence might be said by so many people, but they are all not in the same position. The effectiveness of what they will do afterward will not be also the same. Um, some people will be serious about it because they lived it. Some people won't be serious about it because they actually still like it. They just shy out because of people. Like they don't want to be perceived as an angry person. So it's somehow to preserve their social image, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that either. Um, so what they will do, they won't be always that um, uh, effective because they still in the position of the conflict between I like to be angry and I still want to get rid of it because of the societal stigma. So I am in between. So sometimes I get angry, but then I shy out. But when I shy out, oh, I did like it. Deep down, maybe they don't say it, but it's just they feel better. But uh, once they live it, maybe actually they will say, "Well, I don't want to be less angry. I like it, and I will just stay angry. So be it." Why? Why would you want to change something that you like to do? I mean, as long as you are not harming anyone. And here the context is actually beyond the societal functioning. So I actually said that, but I want also to say it again. Uh, so uh, it's somehow we want to change in the way that we are being told to change, but not because we actually want to. So this is actually fine if something has to do with the body, I guess. Like if someone actually tells me, well, smoking is bad for you, then I will actually start to smoke. Someone actually told me, but yeah, well, I mean, it is the body, biology. But with our second or the other side of us, the non biological part, I don't think we are functioning in the same way. I mean, we are functioning in the same way, but it is not the way that is problem free. It will always come with an issue because I will always be in the place where I want something, but at the same time, I have been told that I can't. For several things, but um, it won't actually work out because, as we said on the anger part, I am in the place where I feel the conflict between the two sides of me, and if we now try to uh, see what we call the negative habits, then this might explain why we can't actually get rid of them. We do so many things that we don't like, but we are still doing them. I think it is because of the same thing. We like it, but we see it as bad because, well, they are bad for based on some standard, because of some maybe because of the law or society or faith or moral code or something. So we deem them bad, but but at the same time we still like them, so we can't get rid of them. So we are doing them, but we still feel guilty. It's because we are in the place of the conflict again. I have both things, both uh, sides, and that also explains addiction, where the brain uh, already had been wired to crave the activity that will give him more dopamine. So we always want to do that thing over and over and over and over. But at the same time, if we have some moral code, we will feel guilty because that code will always tell us it's bad, or because addiction in itself is bad. But who actually told us that? Society. So, for example, if someone works out every single day for 4 hours, isn't it that addiction? Yes, but it's not stigmatized because it is the good one, the good type. Some others will be bad because they are not the good type. Um,
Here,
of
here, I
course,
got another really weird
has,
example for you. Um,
I mean,
aha,
to be
this is
honest,
gonna be my
this has a good merit because maybe the things that we are doing is bad for our bodies, or it harms others, or it makes us not doing the things that we are supposed to do, etc. So yeah, it has some merit for sure. Mhm.
so my I live in the lovely state of California where weed is legal. Thank God. Um, and quote unquote drugs are bad, right? Like that's so deeply ingrained in everything. And I use weed literally every day to manage anxiety and my fucking morals and my like brain connected to society. I always feel guilty. I mean sometimes I do, but I don't get, high in the middle of the day. I never get high and drive. I am doing it in a way that is very specifically to manage I mean, probably I should sound like yoga nidra my way to like the root of these feelings, but I am not a perfect human. um, and every single time I'll go out and I'll have like a couple of puffs in a way that makes me able to live my life. And my brain is like, wow, you're smoking in the middle of the day. You're like a fucking failure as a human. And it's this crazy, like, I cannot detach myself from the guilt of it, even though there's like an equal part of me that knows that I'm not doing anything wrong. Even if I was doing it for funsies, who fucking cares? Because I still contribute to society like I do all the whatever shit that I need to do to be a productive human. So how I'm just like letting my like social constructs affect this activity
Mhm.
that I do every single day.
Yeah, yeah, but um, I don't see any way out.
Oh, that doesn't make
Uh,
me feel better. You were supposed to
don't worry.
tell me how to
I'm
Sit.
so sorry. Uh, the only way is um is okay. The things that we push them farther away because they are bad. So the social constructs and the moral codes and religions and philosophies, etc. Some stuff we like, some stuff we don't. But the stuff that we don't like, we try to push them away. And because we try to get rid of them. That is exactly why we can, because we are always try to get rid of them, but not because we are full of um, we are full of them, and it's like I'm not trying to get rid of something that I am already done with. Like I
Mm,
don't feel
mm,
angry uh, enough to destroy something. Like it's just because, oh, I shouldn't be thinking in that way because it is not the way that I am supposed to think with. That's it. That is not sufficient. That is not enough. Um, it will become sufficient when someone will reach the peak where they can't get any more. They are done. That is too much. I am done with this. I can't actually take it anymore. I am done. And uh, no one can actually can actually um, uh, get to this um artificially. It is not possible. They have to be actually really in that way. Once they do, conditions will be there, then they will get rid of it. But the problem is that, oh, that way of thinking is not the way that's supposed to be. Hence, I want to change it. Or it is not the right way, whatever that means. And then the natural outcome is to get rid of it because it's not good for me. But it is deeply ingrained. How can I get rid of something that is literally part of me? It's not possible. I either have to be fearless, I have no fear whatsoever, so that I can get rid of it, um, or I am actually uh, done with it. I can't actually take it anymore. It's done. I am filled with it. I am sick of it. So once a person will have that, they will naturally actually get rid of it. But because we always see the things in in the way that we should have them or we shouldn't, or things that are helpful or those things are not helpful, or the polarities don't work actually very much because we will always try to get one and push away the other. But that's somehow not genuine. Like,
mm,
uh, I am speaking on behalf of all of us, to be honest. Especially me, I am at the first, really. When I don't like, because someone actually, I mean, I have heard over and over and over that X is bad, or X is not helpful, or X is blah, blah, blah. Then I'm starting actually to believe this. And now I'm starting to change my daily life based on the fact that X is bad. So now I'm trying to do things differently now because X is bad. But wait a second. At the end of the day, I still like doing X. I still well, X is still, well, I like it, I like it. But wait, I am not supposed to do X, but I still like it.
mm,
So now I will try to create a plan to get rid of X, and I will try to succeed. So let's actually work it out. So I start, then I do with my plan, then I succeed for a few like months, hopefully. Then I get back again because I missed X. It has been like too long. I miss you very much. Let's do it. So now then I get back to X, and then it becomes over and over and over. And there's nothing bad with this. Actually, this might be actually helpful because maybe at the end the person will realize that they are done with it, that they are okay. I can't actually take this anymore, and then they will choose sides. They will either do it full time, like okay, I'm just gonna do X, fuck everyone, or they will just stop doing X forever because the conflict consumes a lot of energy. The person will always be in the state of that's too much, exhausting. What should I do? Once they are exhausted, done, they can't actually take it anymore because, well, they are tired. They are too tired. So now they have to choose sides. So they will either choose to do X or, well, abandoning X for good. Um, and whatever they want will dominate the situation. They will live and they will see for themselves. Or maybe they believe so much in the idea that actually X is too bad for them. So if that belief is very strong, then they will choose not to do X anymore. So it's really depends on what's stronger and what the person uh, wants, truly wants.
Mhm.
And at the end, once they are out of energy to deal with this, coming back and forth, doing things several times, succeeding and then failing, and then succeeding and then failing, and then doing a milestone, and then having a time where they do nothing, etc. Once they hit, oh, I have no fuel anymore, I'm done. Then they will choose, and then they will move on.
Mm.
But anything people say or read, it's not lived. Like I didn't live with this. So if I hear what the people have been doing, it is not the same as actually doing it. It is not the same at all. That's why advice doesn't usually work. People give advices a lot, but it's like it rarely works. Sometimes it does, but I doubt it. Because the person who gives it, he he or she actually got it from experience, living experience. The person who takes it, for them it's just words, it doesn't mean anything. But the person who is giving it, it is not just words. um, it contains something different, it's loaded with something. But the person who actually hears it, it's words, it's just good words. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what you said is very true. But that's it. It's just words. Um, it's hard just to actually take it and just do it because it's. I didn't actually see that. I did not understand what you understood. It's not the same. Yeah.
So, with that said, we're at time, and I think the perfect closer for today is I think you should just give out your best piece of advice to the
Oh my God.
people.
No, I have. I need people's advice. No, really.
Okay, change my mind. Please send your advice to us. We are desperate.
Yeah, please. If people have advice for me, please feel free.
Please, somebody help us.
Well,
Somebody help us.
but I hope it will work with me. This is the thing.
We're gonna be the unique ones who take the advice and it's immediately lived experience, just in the ear, in the brain, lived experience, and
No,
then we become superpower.
yeah, I would actually rather to hear what what actually people say from what they lived, and I hope by some sort of magic it might work for me. In the, I mean, I need to think about it and see how it might work with me. But I hope it will. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, share everybody, share your advice with us. You can comment on our I don't know, all of the many places that you can find this podcast. Personally, I would love to hear everyone's experience with different styles of yoga, like we talked about sort of in the beginning. If you've done hatha, if you loved it, if you hated it, kundalini, whatever, I would love to hear because I think something that can be, my worst experience in my whole life could be like really wonderful for somebody else. So let's share our yoga class experiences.
Yeah. I
You
wish you
can
will have a great time, and yeah, and
find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. We will chat
oh,
to you there, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for our next show.
sure.
Bye.
See ya. Bye bye.